Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. This is live stream number 1004. So welcome aboard. If you're not overly familiar with this show, let me point out, super casual, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And usually a little bit of time is devoted to what's currently cooking in the hobby. So there is that. Of course, do want to point out this is a live stream. So if you are watching live and you happen to be a subscriber for at least 24 hours or more, I'm sorry, I take that back, 48 hours or more. Where did I get the idea of 24 hours? Something caught my attention out of the corner of my eye. I don't even know what it was. And it's like, now I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's a ghost. We've been having problems with the furnace today, so it's the furnace I'm looking over at. I'm like, I heard something click on it or whatever. It's running right now. Anyway, so I should point out, if you are watching live and you are a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours, you can take part in chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, fire away. I will do my best to respond. Of course, keep in mind, whenever you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you're not going to find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So let's see, who do we have hanging out in chat? First out the gate is friend of the show, the Madman. That's right, the Madman is with us. Kathy Evans, Roger Perdome, John Brunhaver, B-Horn is also hanging with the gang. And I will take a guess, maybe one of our other chat moderators, Sarah D., is lurking in the shadows. I see Kevin R. Smith is popping on in and saying hello. Hello, Kevin. So welcome aboard, everybody. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend. It is snowing in the Chicago area. It's not terrible. I think we've got maybe about 3 inches so far. I think we might get a little more of a dusting later on throughout the evening. But they were predicting about 6 inches, and I know we're not going to see that. But unfortunately, it is that wet, heavy snow that's really awful to shovel and that. But I will point out, I have not shoveled any snow today. Our neighbors came by and shoveled it all up. And I was like, okay. I was like, I would have gone out there just pushing the old shovel. I know better. I'm not going to have one of those snow heart attacks. Nuh-uh. But they were like, no, go inside. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, I'm not that helpless. Alrighty, let's jump on into the news, because now available from Good Games Publishing is Mercurial. And I've got the skinny. Delve into the fantastic world of Mercurial and discover a new age of spell crafting. Exert control over chaos in this game of dice manipulation and magic making. Choose your mage class and roll your elements, then draft and play. Alterations to change your elements to match chaotic spell requirements. Combo cast your spells to generate enough ruin, restore, or powerfully balanced mist to gain heroic victories, which you earn victory points for, and spell boosting sigils. This is for gamers looking for a mix of hand building, multi-use cards, strategic dice manipulation, and powerful spell combos in a deluxe fantasy setting. You'll draft multi-use cards to manipulate your dice and more. Careful planning and execution is required for optimal play, and you'll be rewarded for it. Heroic deeds earn prestige and spell boosting sigils. It includes evocative art and graphic design and custom elemental dice. Mercurial is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in 45 to 90 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $49.99, and it should be available in stores right now. I know you can order it. It is in stock over at the Good Games Publishing website. If you are not overly familiar with Good Games Publishing, I have reviewed Unfair, and then they also have Funfair. Or no, I'm sorry, I take that back. I've reviewed Funfair. Yes, and they also have Unfair. And I got to admit, Funfair is a blast. Everybody who has played it has enjoyed it. My mom really enjoyed it. And of course, you're trying to build, the best amusement park. So pretty cool game, a lot of fun, and very easy to get into. So also have to point out, the artwork in this looks really, really special. So this has a really good visual style, it appears, and has some visual pop on the table. So talking about snow, Roger Prudhomme says they expect about a foot in Montreal. Ooh, yuck. Kevin R. Smith says they might get a little snow overnight, but so far it's just rain, and they're lucky they don't have to work tomorrow. So Sarah D is going to have to work tomorrow through the AM commute in the morning. Ooh, the early AM commute. Well, one thing we've got going for us is it's not super cold, and I don't think the temperatures are going to just absolutely plummet here in the Chicago area, at least not overnight. So might not be as slick in the morning as it would normally on a January morning in the Chicago area after we've gotten 4 or 5 inches of snow. On to our next news piece. Arriving later this year is the second edition of Nocturian, and I've got the latest from Vesuvius Media. Nocturian is a dark fantasy, dice rolling, worker placement, and resource management board game for 2 to 4 players. Players assume the role of powerful noble houses that are trying to fulfill quests and find their legendary heirlooms by gathering resources and forging mighty armies of beasts with variable asymmetric powers. The noble house with the most victory points proves its loyalty to the emperor and wins the game. While known for his work on the game Brass, professional illustrator and game artist Damian Mamlidi joined the Vesuvius Media team to create the stunning artwork of Nocturian. From the box cover all the way to the game board, the artwork is highly detailed and beautifully crafted. Nocturian Second Edition is for 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up. Plays in around 45 to 90 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $35 when it lands later this year. So I do not even have a quarter that indicated of when it'll arrive. So I don't know if it's Q1, Q2, end of the year, or what. But I have got to say, looks like there's quite a bit in this game for a $35 MSRP, and the artwork looks cool. And it almost seems like, I don't think there's a tile laying element to it, but as you can see, actually in the image right now, it's all these various different like villages and buildings and things like that that you can access. Could be kind of cool. Could be kind of cool. And I guess you're leading armies of different creatures and monsters, so there is that as well. All right, let's talk about some miniatures news. Yes, some minis for a change. Now available for pre-order is the skirmish level zombie miniatures game, Country Road Z. It's coming from Modiphius Entertainment. Here's the scoop. Gather your survivors, build your community, and battle the Zeds. Country Road Z is a solo game of miniature tabletop combat and resource management set during the zombie apocalypse. Scavenge materials to build watchtowers, workshops, generators, and more, and then take it to the tabletop, where the zombies react to every grenade, shotgun, and scream. Combat Zeds, and perhaps worse, across warehouses, graveyards, road wreckage, mansions, and more. Maybe Bill Murray's hanging out in one of those mansions. Upgrade your base facilities and build new weapons and armor to keep your survivors safe for the next mission. Where will your next community base be? And what will it be? A distillery, a firehouse, a hydroelectric dam? Build your defenses bigger and better, but quietly, or the zombie horde will be at your door. Build your own apocalypse. Enjoy the end times your way with the Apocalypse Toolkit, containing a multitude of optional rules, including a variety of specialized zombies, advanced rules for firearms and vehicles, seasonal weather conditions, and your choice of apocalypse. Plug and play whichever options fit your game style, whether you favor complexity, ease of play, or a combination of both. This 184-page full-color hardback includes a variety of apocalypse types, including viral, cosmic horror, and magic. 16 different types of zombies. Road trip campaign options. Character advancement rules. 29 mission types. 10 different base types. 39 different facilities and upgrades as well. Plus, you'll receive the digital edition immediately upon purchase. The 184-page hardcover can be pre-ordered right now for approximately $45.42, exchange rate and all. And it's going to ship in March. And once again, don't forget, if you do pre-order from Modiphius Entertainment, you will get the PDF immediately. Nice. So I will mention, I originally got I'm trying to remember the name of the company. It's just a small publisher. They had sent me a copy of Country Road Z. I did not get an opportunity to review it. And then once I heard that this was going to be actually published again as a hardcover with updated artwork and all these other things, different kind of graphic style and graphic layout, I figured, well, I'll wait till the Modiphius Entertainment edition comes out. And I will reach out to the fine folks over at Modiphius to see about getting a review copy of this. Let's talk about some role-playing game news, because there is currently an amazing Humble Bundle, which is featuring Call of Cthulhu from my friends over at Chaosium Inc. But we will get to that after we take a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Here's a better way to put words on paper. A remarkable electric typewriter, the IBM Selectric. This is what makes it different. An ingenious printing element that works faster than the eye can see. Watch it in action. Now in slow motion, as it turns, tilts, prints. The IBM Selectric is versatile too. From many different snap-on, snap-off elements, you can select the best type style for the job and be ready to type again in seconds. The IBM Selectric, a typewriter so different, only the alphabet remains the same.
This machine will make you want a cup of Wilkins coffee.
Not me. Oh, take mine with cream and sugar.
Hey, Mr. McGann, this car, the Sky Teeth pump.
Yes, what about it,
Well,
Fillmore?
the driver is a chimpanzee.
Well, of course he's a chimp. Fillmore, we Texaco dealers made a solemn promise to give every customer our check and double check service. And there's absolutely no mention on this promise about it not applying to chimpanzees. Now, you get started and I'll talk to the driver. Sorry about the delay, sir, but my assistant is checking your oil, water, battery, windshield, and double checking.
That's my chimpanzee you're talking to.
Oh, then you're the driver of this car.
Well, of course, he's not old enough to drive.
Oh, I guess it was the wrinkles that fooled me.
Would you believe Don Adams in a Texaco commercial? Missed it by that much. Actually, my best friend Elliot Miller does a pretty good Don Adams impersonation. And he does Sean Connery fairly well, too. I don't know why. So, yes. And some discussion of the IBM typewriter there, the Selectric. I thought it was kind of cool that you could replace the head with, so all of a sudden you're typing in italics. I was like, okay, that's pretty wild. Pretty strange. I was not familiar with that typewriter, but Kevin R. Smith, as well as the Madman, point out that they both learned how to type on that sort of typewriter. I know there are people out there, you know, probably watching this wondering, what the hell is a typewriter? What was that thing? What was that thing they were banging on the keys in that? What? That was a weird looking keyboard. Where was the computer? Where was the monitor? Invite Eldritch Terror to your table. Bring a taste of terror to your game nights with this bundle from Chaosium Inc., complete with everything you need to run the dreaded yet beloved Call of Cthulhu role-playing game system. On top of the Call of Cthulhu starter set, you'll get the Investigator Handbook, replete with expanded rules for creating player characters, as well as the Keeper Rulebook, brimming with all the information you need to keep things orderly as your table descends into madness. You'll also get tons of adventures, including some aimed at first-time game masters, as well as entire campaigns. Pay what you want for over 25 books and game aids for this seminal role-playing game, and help support the World Wildlife Fund with your purchase. So you can get the entire shebang for a minimum donation of $25 through January 27th. So I believe the lowest tier you can get in on is $5, which will include the Call of Cthulhu starter set, as well as I gotta say, it's one of the adventure collections as well. So I did tweet out earlier today, the only thing preventing this from being the absolute perfect Call of Cthulhu bundle is the fact it does not include Harlem Unbound 2nd Edition. Rats. I mean, if that was part of this, it would be like a no-brainer that anyone, I mean, I got to be honest, anyone who has any sort of interest whatsoever in Call of Cthulhu owe it to themselves to pick this up, because this is going to put years of adventuring in your hands at a steal. It's value over $400 in PDFs. We're not talking the actual physical books have a $400 value. No, the PDFs alone in this come out to over $400. So pretty sweet. I have reviewed many of these things as well. So on a side note, I should point out, I did not realize there have been a few releases from Chaosium Inc. that I have not had an opportunity to see. A Cold Fire Within happens to be one of them. I was like, wait a second. I'm like, I know the two-headed serpent. I know I reviewed that. I'm like, so anyway, so I was taking a look at this bundle, and I went on to Chaosium's website, because I usually don't jump on their website because I get, news sent from them to me. And I was taking a look, and I couldn't believe I think there's like 4 Call of Cthulhu releases that I have not shared coverage of, videos, as well as like 4 RuneQuest supplements that I have not shared videos of. So I reached out, and all that stuff's on its way. I was like, okay, sweet. Very, very nice. So we've got plenty of Chaosium Inc. goodies on the way, even though they're not brand new. They're going to be brand new for many people who watch videos of the Gaming Gang. So Kevin R. Smith says, if you have no Call of Cthulhu products and are hard up, even the $5 isn't bad. Starter set has quick and dirty character creation rules, and you get the adventures for starting keepers. You get 3. You get 3 adventures in that starter set, one of them being a Chris Spivey authored adventure, Dead Man Stomp. Kevin says they've got several things in this bundle, but that $25 level has several setting and adventure books they would like. And probably that $25 is just $5 more than if you just got one of those PDFs. All right, let's wrap up the news with a story I tried to bring you last week, and for some bizarre reason, I didn't have the right images set up. Anthony Good is with us in chat, I should point out. Howdy, welcome. Asking, when does that end? The Humble Bundle will end, I believe it is January 27th. At least that's what I've got jotted down. So, following a successful Kickstarter, Frog God Games has released Heart of St. Bathos for 5e Dungeons & Dragons and Old School Essentials. Oh, and look, there it is. Oh, it's bringing a tear to my eye. Here's what I know. Born by a paladin, stolen by a demon, lost in darkness. Long ago, a bold paladin sought the same glory as his celebrated ancestors, but in a moment of weakness, he gave up his own soul in exchange for success in battle. He now lies suspended between life and death, and his soul is lost. It's up to the adventurers to find it and redeem a fallen paladin while facing the wrath of a powerful demon lord in the process. Heart of St. Bathos is a sandbox-style campaign for 5e D&D or OSE, designed to take a party of characters from Tier 1 to Tier 3. level 3 to level 12, if we're talking 5e. Answering an appeal for aid from the monks of Goodhart Abbey, the adventurers set off in search of a famed paladin's lost soul, venturing first to a cursed fortress and then into the labyrinthine depths beneath. But it's far from a simple mission. The soul and the heart-shaped jewel to which it is bound have been stolen by a cunning devil. I have a cunning plan, me lord. Who has taken it to her citadel far below within the twisting passages of the Cyclopean deeps. And the heart's true master, an imprisoned demon lord, lurks in the darkest corners of the realm, hoping to use the unwitting adventurers to aid in his escape. The soul of a brave paladin hangs in the balance as the adventurers delve into dark and unknown regions. This includes a detailed overview of an entirely new and unexplored section of the Underrealms, with its own unique inhabitants, factions, and creatures. Your players will find their swords and wits challenged, as diplomacy and guile are sometimes as important as combat and tactics. There's also extensive maps of over 20 fascinating locations, including subterranean settlements, fortresses, temples, and cave complexes. There are new monsters and NPCs suitable for any campaign. And if your campaign takes place in the Lost Lands, which is sort of Frog God Games' default setting for their adventures, Heart of St. Bathis begins in the Grand Duchy of Rheims, in the Duchy of West March's capital of Eckland. This 173-page hardcover is available for either flavor, 5e D&D or Old School Essentials, for an MSRP of $54.99. You can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG. Amazingly enough, only for 5e. I did not see the OSE version of this as a PDF at DriveThruRPG. Just 5e. And you can snag that for $34.99. Ichiban and Travis Williams are hanging out with us. Good to see you both. Hopefully I've said hello to everybody who is hanging out in chat, because you know I try to do that. I always aim to please. All right, that is it for the tabletop gaming news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Do not forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit DriveThruRPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, Board Game Vault, what have you, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Of course, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, then by all means, swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. And gotta say, good friend of the show, the madman himself, recently stopped by paypal.me and made a not small donation. So those of you out there who utilize our banner ads and or visit paypal.me/thegaminggang, thank you very, very much. Your support helps keep thegaminggang.com as well as this channel and everything else around. So thank you kindly, everyone. All righty. Let me grab a quick sip here. 245 Trioxin is with us tonight. Yes, Flaming Heron points out, great time to buy a game over at DriveThruRPG because it is their new year new game sale, which I actually do have a banner ad for up on thegaminggang.com. So there is that. So a few things I do want to tackle tonight. I know, still getting used to this new format, right? Kind of like, oh, okay, did Tabletop Gaming News, and it's like, oh, we're going to take a look at. No, actually, we're not. Hold on there a minute, Baba Louie. I'll do the thinning around here. Anyway, my sister-in-law's dad is in the hospital, or maybe he's just been released from the hospital, and sending good thoughts his way. He's in his 80s, and he's had a lot of health issues in that. So, but problems with his gallbladder, as well as I think it was his appendix, were infected. So they're actually going to send him home, or he's been sent home. I don't know, because I haven't had an update today. And he's got like drainage tubes and stuff like that. You know, I remember the drainage tubes after the triple bypass. That was the worst part of it. In my opinion, the worst part of the triple bypass was the removal of the chest tubes. Oof. And when I talk about jumping out of your skin, that was, yeah, that was it. I'll never forget. They were like, all right, now you have to make sure that you breathe out when we tell you to. When we count down to 1, you need to exhale. Do not inhale. I was like, okay. I said, because if you inhale, it's going to be really painful. Oh, yeah. Well, I did exhale, and it was really painful. So the madman is sending along his best wishes to Richard. That's his name. So my brother and my sister-in-law, as well as my niece, all went up to Michigan. So I had to pet sit this past weekend. I did not get really much done. So unfortunately, but I did get some videos out there. So if you have not caught them, I did share an unboxing for the Plum Island Horror from GMT Games, as well as my good buddy Herman Lutman, who is the designer. So I did that, and the first look page through of Shadow Dark. So that is also out there. I was going to shoot my final portion of the review of the Ultimate Core box set for Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. That didn't happen. I was going to do my Black Horse unboxing for Mark H. Walker over at Tiny Battle Publishing. That didn't happen. But I did get a lot of graphics done because I brought the new laptop with. So I did that. Did some reading. I read Shadow Dark. I'm ready to review it. I'm going to wait till later on this week and get some other videos out there, because this is actually the last video that I did, until tonight. And I don't want to do the review right on top of it. So there was that. Unfortunately, did not get as much as I was hoping to, because it was last minute. So out of the blue, my brother calls me to ask me if first thing the following day I could go over and spend a couple of days over at their house. Well, more like 2.5 days. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'll do it. So we've got some more people coming on into chat. Who do we have here? Gruesome Gaming Group and Lord Koss 2000. So welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Anyway, so another thing I wanted to talk about, because we've been discussing how you can make a difference with getting the word out there about the Gaming Gang, as well as any other outlet that you follow that you feel deserves more attention. So we've kind of talked about various different things. So while I was pet sitting, I started kind of digging down into finding out, why is it that Google News never shares any news pieces from thegaminggang.com? And I guarantee that we have more traffic to that website than other websites, not all of them. I'm not saying like Wired and stuff like that, but there are some websites that pop up in my Google News feed that I'm like, why is this popping up, but nothing from the Gaming Gang? Well, it turns out it looked like it's kind of my fault. So it looks like we didn't have the right RSS feed layout. So I've been playing around with that. So that should be changing. Now, I did notice it was not utilizing the correct images. So I'm digging into that to find out why that is the case. I think I might have found out why. And I've also kind of been playing around a little bit with the SEO, the search engine optimization, because I believe that there's a lot of articles and things like that on thegaminggang.com. In fact, there's over 10,000 articles that should probably be pulling in more traffic than they do. So, and granted, I understand Google has probably not indexed everything on the website, probably never will index everything on the website either. So I am trying to take a look to see how I can go about making sure that the news feed is more visible and shows properly. Because for some strange reason, the thumbnail for my first look at Shadow Dark was like occupying, or populating, I should say, most of the news items. And I was like, what's going on? They all have featured images. The featured images all pop up on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. Why is it not working on the RSS feed? So once again, playing around with that. Roger Prudhomme says was actually surprised when they stopped by his daughter's apartment and saw the Shadow Dark kit on her desktop. Was like, I've seen this book somewhere. Cool. Very nice. I think my review will be a relatively unique take on this, and it will be a true review. You know that. None of that, oh, here, we're paging through and it's a review. I've never looked inside this book ever. Here's my review. If you follow me on Twitter, I was talking about what complete nonsense this is. We talked about this. Was it last week before that, something like that, where it says, these people are, oh, it's a review. Here's my, and then they'll do shit like honest review. And it's like, no, it is not an honest review, because honestly, it's not a review. You fucking clickbait bastards. And I get it. This originates really from the tech side of things. You know, cameras, GPUs, phones. That's where all this phony, oh, this is a review horse shit comes from, is from all of that. Where you'll see, because I don't know about you, but before I buy any electronics, I research it. So I hate when I'm trying to look something up, try to get a legitimate review of something, because you have to sift through all this shit where it's just somebody doing a voiceover showing the just the stock footage from that company for that item, and they're just reading the specs. It's like, there you go. There's your review. That was my review. It's like, no, that is an overview. Morons. But it's all clicks. Everything's about clicks. Which the reality is, if you have followed the Gaming Gang for any length of time, you know that is not my bag of tricks. So yes, could I have monetized the Gaming Gang far, far better years and years ago when we started? Of course I could have. Could I have competed with other websites out there? Yes, I could have, because there was a point in time when it was Elliot and I, and we also had James Englehart. We had a few other contributors who were part of the gang, but it was mainly Elliot and I. Our podcast and that was pretty damn popular. In fact, people still go and download the episodes. But the thing is, the way I've always looked at it is, if I have a limited amount of time that I can actually devote to doing this, and of course, you know, if you followed TGG, I care for my dad. So that takes up time during my day. So, and then of course, you know, there's other things going on. But I could take the same amount of time and invest it into monetizing stuff or creating content. I always go to the content creation side. It's just how I am. It's like you see all the different websites out there where you show up and you're like, oh, hey, you know, I'm clicking on this link. That sounds like an interesting article. And then you're just inundated with pop-up ads, auto-playing videos. You get the little ad that comes up out of the bottom, and then you got to click on it for it to go back down, or it comes from up top, and then you got to wait for it to disappear. It's like, to me, I feel that is an insult to your audience, that their experience on your website doesn't matter to you. All you give a shit is that you just earned 1/10 of a penny from their visit. It's not like that. It's just not my thing. So, yes, my brother beats me up about how I could have been making a Tom Vassell kind of money doing this stuff. Probably not, because I don't have the killer instinct like Tom Vassell does. But yes, my brother is absolutely correct. I could have monetized this far, far better back in the day. And the reality is, the Gaming Gang would be much, much more popular than it is if I had done that, because then, of course, I would reinvest into promotions and stuff like that. Oh, well, in order to tell you, I'm just me. I'm just me. Flaming Heron says, or you could just make good content like you do. I try. I do try. I know my videos aren't the greatest. Personally, I don't like to script things out. So yes, I know my reviews and first looks and things like that kind of suffer because sometimes, you know, I'm all over the place. But to me, just reading off of a teleprompter while I'm taking a look at a game or sharing how to play or things like that, I find it boring. I really do. I don't like it. So And I just like the stream of consciousness kind of thing, like I'm doing right now. Flaming Heron says, for them, it's all about the money. Flaming Heron likes my reviews because they come off as genuine. I think a lot of it feels formulaic. Yeah, for other people, sure, yeah. I mean, I don't set out and say, okay, so this video is going to be 10 minutes long because I needed more than 8 minutes because then I can put mid-roll ads in it on YouTube. I don't do that. I don't sit there and say, okay, so I need this video to run 30 minutes because then I can get away with an ad or two to start, which, of course, the content creator has no control over. We have no control over the ads. We really don't. But then let's see. So I could get 1 or 2 ads to open. Then I can have 3 mid-roll ads. And then I get my end roll ad. Do that. I have none of that. Bahorn says, you forgot to mention the pop-up to sign up for a newsletter or something like that. Oh, yeah, right, of course. And then a lot of times you sign up for that newsletter, your email address is getting sold, baby. Yep. Flaming Heron says, if I didn't already say hello, I forgot. I think I said hello to Flaming Heron. Maybe not. Hello, Flaming Heron, who happens to be another of our chat moderators. So there is that. Anyway, last thing I wanted to discuss is as far as going to the Founders and Legends convention. I don't know if you followed this at all. And Flaming Heron says, no, I meant hello to the horn. And yes, it's fine if I didn't say hello. But you know, if you hang out, if you watch these streams, you know I do my best to say hello to everybody. And I try to keep my eyes peeled to see, if any questions go by or anything like that. Anyway, so I had, I think, almost 100 responses to the poll here on YouTube, and very, very positive towards, they'd like, people would like to see that coverage. So I have reached out to Troll Lord Games because I don't really know Luke Gygax, and he's the mastermind behind GaryCon and this new Founders and Legends convention, which takes place up in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, prior to GaryCon, so it's the week before GaryCon. So they're really tight with Luke Gygax over at Troll Lord Games. So I've reached out to them to see, hey, do you think this would be a good idea for me to ask Luke Gygax about putting together a couple of press passes for Elliot and I? Because they don't do press passes. They didn't do it at GaryCon, so I'm pretty certainly, I speak English goodly. I'm pretty certain they're not going to be doing that with the Founders and Legends. I haven't heard anything back. So I know their PR person, Chuck, had some health issues. So I've actually reached out to Troll Lord Games a few times over the past 3 months. In fact, you may recall I did an interview with the Chenault brothers, as well as Luke Gygax and Chuck. And like right after that, I reached out because Chuck had said, hey, I want to get a copy of something, I don't know what it was, out to me to do a review of. And I reached out and I was like, yeah, you mentioned that. I just wanted to check. I don't know if you'd sent it out or whatever. I haven't heard anything back. So it's Are the folks at Troll Lord Games mad at me for something? I wouldn't think so. But, you never know. I mean, I do piss people off. There's nothing I can imagine that I've done that would piss them off, but so I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. And I've gotten a couple of emails from people asking, did I have a falling out with Troll Lord Games? Because they haven't seen any Troll Lord Games coverage, like videos and that, since the end of 2022, I think. I mean, I've shared some news pieces, but I don't know. Flaming Heron says maybe it's the time of year they missed the message. Well, you got to keep in mind, the first email that I sent that I haven't never heard back from is actually like early November. So Longshot is with us. I believe this might be a first-time visit for Longshot. So welcome aboard. Says, I know the Troll Lords have been busy. Ping them again. Yeah, I just shot Chuck an email 2 days ago. Yeah, I think it was Sunday when I was pet sitting, because I actually had a lot of correspondence I had to get back on. So it's one of the things I did Sunday, seeing that my brother and sister-in-law don't have cable. And CBS is very weird out in the suburbs of Chicago. CBS can be very difficult for anyone to pick up, like over the air, even if you've got like an HD antenna and stuff like that. And the reason is CBS didn't want to spend the money on a powerful transmitter. Yeah. So I wasn't able to get the Bears game. Not that it really mattered. So I would have liked to have had it on in the background while I was doing stuff on my laptop. So anyway, so I was like, okay, so I'm not going to be watching football. What can I do to keep me occupied more than just sitting there, doing graphic rendering? I was like, oh, I got a bunch of emails I need to answer and stuff I need to send out. So that's what I was doing. So yes, that's when I reached out to Chuck the last time. Still haven't heard anything back. So I would like to, to be honest, it doesn't matter about the Founders and Legends convention. I am asking that question, but it's more, I'm curious how Chuck's doing, things like that. There's been some releases from Troll Lord Games, which I would like to be able to share with the audience and stuff like that. So that's part of it too. But I am kind of curious. Hopefully Chuck is all right. So I don't know. I do not know. All right. Got a few moments left. Anybody got any questions they want to hit me up with? Because that's something else that I want to do with this new version of the dispatch is tackle questions. It doesn't have to be like about me personally. It can be about the hobby as well, if you would like. Completely up to you. I can also go back through to some of the emails that were sent to me with questions for the 1000th episode that I did not have an opportunity to get to. So Flaming Heron says, hopefully they get back in touch with you. I'm sure they will. I got to be honest, there are some companies out there who tend to be far more active when they're trying to get the word out about something, as opposed to you touching base with them. They might kind of fall into that category. So that is a possibility. So, all right. I don't think we've got any questions incoming. There really isn't anything that's caught my eye outside of, I know there was we talked about it last week with the end of role-playing games nonsense. I think the other, game-related kerfluffle going on right now is the AI artwork with Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering. I got to be very honest with you, since I do not really cover Magic the Gathering. I've interviewed people who were big movers and shakers behind the scenes years ago, but I have never been somebody who received review copies of anything from Magic. Hector Stratford's with us. Good to see you. So Hector says, no questions yet, but if you keep having a Q&A section, I'm sure they'll have some later. Well, that's cool. Doesn't help us tonight, though, does it? Flaming Aaron says, yep, Watsy's up to it again. Yeah, so they said, hey, there's not going to be any AI artwork. And then it turned out, I guess, some AI artwork got into the latest release of Magic the Gathering. I gotta be honest, it's kind of tough to police that. Just like I had pointed out last week, that I'm no longer going to share coverage for games that have AI generated artwork. And I did have a publisher asking me over on Facebook what that meant, because that can be a lot of different things. So the way I look at it is, if it is a piece of artwork that is generated solely from other images that the publisher does not possess ownership of or license to utilize, to me, that takes them out of the running. Now, the only sort of AI enhancements or anything like that that I feel is all right is if it's an enhancement of artwork or photography, whatever, that the publisher actually owns or has the rights to utilize. So that's one. So if it's just enhanced, or if it's generated from images, once again, that the publisher owns or has licensed the rights to, then it's okay. But outside of that, no. Travis Williams says they're curious about the Shadow Dark review. Their opinion of it is definitely against the grain. I don't want to give too much away, but I think my review is probably going to focus on what Shadow Dark is and what it is not, and what I feel is the intent behind the design. I want to say that because I know there are folks out there who, because I've gotten comments on the video, and they're like, this doesn't have anything new. This is all stolen from other game systems and things like that. I don't know, what the big deal is. But the thing is, I don't think Kelsey Dion or anybody else at the Arcane Library ever presented Shadow Dark as being, oh my gosh, this is revolutionary. I don't think that's the case. Now, if they did, I'm just not aware of it. I mean, it's not like the first time I'm not aware of something. But I don't think that the Arcane Library has ever promoted Shadow Dark as if it was going to reinvent the wheel. Now, some people may have gotten on board and hyped it up and made people think that, but I don't think that was ever claimed by the Arcane Library. So I will give away the fact that I do like it. There are some things that I'm kind of like, and I will talk about that as well. But there's other parts to it I'm like, oh man, that's great. And yes, I see where a lot of the influence come from, and I will talk about those as well. Kevin R. Smith says this AI artwork was in the marketing for Magic, not on any of the cards. Yeah, but come on, it's WotC. They should have known better. So there's that. Travis Williams says, what do I think of OSR? And they play a mashup of Hyperborea, second edition maybe, or first, as well as Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, so it's their preference. I really like the OSR. In fact, when Stephen from Roll for Combat was on in chat last week, he was talking about, I should be on their show again. And I said, well, you know what? Maybe we should talk like OSR. Now, I will say I do have a video that some people get rankled over, which is, what is the OSR and is it filled with right-wing extremists? So, and I do notice that does piss off some right-wing folks who, like to claim that, oh no, it's the liberals, It's like, I hate when these fucking assholes come along and they talk about fascism is a liberal thing. Oh, the very definition of fascism, it's like, no, it is not. And I hate when people are like, oh, the definition is literally, and once again, a pet peeve of mine. And unfortunately, my sister-in-law says this all the time. She uses literally incorrectly. Oh, so we were literally thinking of going to drive over to McDonald's. But I despise when these real right-wing nutters. I'm not talking people with conservative values. Please. I'm talking the nutters, the tinfoil hat crowd, the JFK Jr. is alive, Trump is still president. I'm talking those people. When they try to sit there and they tell you, that the definition of fascism is literally this. And it's like, no. How about you go to dictionary.com or Merriam-Webster's and look up the actual literal definition of fascism, and it does not talk about the left. Okay. Bruno Azevedo is with us. Good to see you, Bruno. Hey, long time no see. AI artwork feels a bit less impactful if not done well, but is a tool that can be made good use of. If it's improving the artwork that you've created, no problem, no issue. The issue I have is when, and I have changed my thoughts on this because I was going to let smaller publishers kind of slide. And then I thought more about it, and it's like, well, if artwork is truly AI generated, that's still stealing. It's stealing other people's work to create. And yes, I get it. Oh, well, the image is new. I understand that. But it's kind of like reverse engineering other artwork to create the image. So yeah, I'm not gonna do that. In fact, there's a publisher who just sent me some stuff, and they've been super nice, but they are using AI generated artwork. And I'm not looking forward to saying, hey, that stuff you just sent me. Sorry. Matthew Constantine is with a Constantine. I know, I can never decide which way I want to pronounce it. So I actually pronounced it both ways throughout the show, like an idiot. So Matthew Constantine says, Matthew Constantine's chiming in and says, yes. Travis Williams says, yes, they're playing the latest edition of Hyperborea, which I liked. I thought it was pretty cool. I like the OSR. I tackle OSR stuff. I wish more publishers would send me OSR stuff. My next Why You Should Play video features something which is, at least in my opinion, I know it's not the true definition of OSR. It's not the literal definition of OSR, because there really isn't any official definition anyway. Like all things, gamers can't get on board with one thing. So everybody's got to have the opinion. But at least it's something that I feel is old school fueled. I may not use the term OSR with it, but stay tuned because that will be up this month. Pauper Knight has joined us in chat. Hello. Okay, we'll wrap this up. I'll look at what we got here. Travis Williams feels that Shadow Dark under-delivers. There's some interesting things about it, but overall, from what I read, it seems very underwhelming. Okay, so my response to that would be, now, Travis has already told us what he prefers playing and what he enjoys, and I'm all for that. So, you know me. I don't sit there talking about, oh, no, that's wrong fun. I'm not one of those guys. As long as everybody around the table's having a good time, nobody gets their eye poked out, nobody runs out of the room crying, it's all good for me. But I will point out that gamers like Travis would feel Shadow Dark under-delivers, but I have to point out that Shadow Dark, I don't feel is aimed at them. So, Kevin Smith said, but Hitler used socialism in the name of his party. He literally did. Well, it wasn't socialism. Was it socialist? Fleming Heron says, speaking of AI art, I'm trying to remember who I backed for Kickstarter, but they had to redo artwork because the person they got to do the art used AI. Matthew Constantine. I'm not making fun of your name. I'm making fun of me not settling on a pronunciation. Says, one of their best friends says literally for everything. He's just so darn nice that it doesn't make me angry, but well, my sister-in-law saying it doesn't make me angry. It's just sort of like, just like the term is, I couldn't care less. It is not I could care less. It's I couldn't care less, because the whole premise of that is that you could not care any less about something than you currently do because you do not care. That's another one that kind of drives me bonkers. And it's not just my sister-in-law. I'm talking anybody. I see interviews with celebrities and things like that, and I could care less. It's like, no, that's not it. Batman says tinfoil hats brings back a memory of boarding a boat whose driver was wearing one. He said he could fix the squiggly lines on our TVs. It was the drugs. Pauper Knight says that their wife is an artist and she hates AI. I would think a great majority of artists, and I'm not talking about people who are artists and only draw on tablets and things like that. I'm talking other media. I would think they despise it. Popper Knight also says the issue tends to come down to whether the art is used to train AI, was gained legitimately, or given some form of credit to the original artist. And of course, copyright laws here in the US also don't help. I think it's not only credit to the artist, but if somebody's using AI-generated artwork for profit, some of that profit should trickle down to those original artists. Yes, change something 30% and it's yours. Yeah, we talk about how you can't copyright mechanics to a game, so we know that. Travis says, totally agree, Shadow Dark isn't gained to those in the old school Renaissance. So Gruesome Gaming Group says they can't draw, they use AI to make their character art. For your own gaming purposes and that, I don't think that's an issue. I don't have a problem with that. Sarah D says, one thing that annoys me more than misusing literally is that I know people who use literally. I mean, he was reading that book literally instead of literally. Popper Knight says it's people who use irregardless, which I thought isn't a word. I always thought that's not a word, which is wrong. Most of them don't care that they are in error. Come on, it's the time we live in. It's like I had pointed out on Twitter. I said, I remember back in the day when a fact was a fact. Facts mattered. Now it's, I believe something, so that is a fact. And it's like, no. The fact is you believe something. What you believe isn't the fact. But that's why we have alternate truth. Yeah, 1984 is never going to come around, huh? Never come about. Kevin R. Smith says, language isn't logical. That's why we have idioms. Fleming Heron says, English, do you speak it? I do, but poorly. We know that. And Fleming Heron also points out, fact is no longer a fact. It's all opinions. Unfortunately, yes, it is. All righty. So that is it for tonight. Of course, if there is something going on in the hobby or you've got a question, once again, it doesn't have to be about me personally. It can be about the hobby or a genre of games or what have you. You can always email me over at jeffmcaleer@thegaminggang.com. By all means, feel free, send it along. If you follow me on Twitter, my email address is there. Thegaminggang.com, my email address is there under contacts. So by all means, because the second part of the dispatches is just going to be like this, little interaction with chat like I normally do, and tackle things that are going on in the hobby. So Fleming Heron says, assholes and some opinions stink too. Or like the old saying, opinions are like assholes, everybody's got one. All righty then. So, if you have not checked it out, by all means, give a peek at my unboxing video for the Plum Island Horror, which I actually had an opportunity to play while I was pet sitting. Yep. Did it solo, so I do need to get some multiplayer, which is probably going to be this coming Friday. So we should have a review of it relatively quickly. All right, if you were watching live, thank you very much. And of course, if you watched live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company. So thank you kindly for that. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very, very much for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. Of course, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, be sure to ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my first look and page through of what we've been talking about in chat, Shadow Dark from the Arcane Library. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I'll be back tomorrow with another fresh batch of tabletop gaming news. And of course, as always, I hope every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.